I hope that day 2 was very, very easy for you. And I hope that because day 3 is a little bit harder. We're gonna dive deeper into figuring out what your real goal is and why you wanna do it. The reason is that often we're so excited at the beginning with what we think we wanna do that we sprint ahead and we don't do all the groundwork. Remember, we're talking about a 90-day course. And I should also say, I want you to figure out what your goal is, but I also want you to be doing some hustle things on the side. It's kind of like if you were going to learn how to swim and I had a manual on how to swim, you wouldn't wait until you had finished perfectly that 90-day manual before you got in the water. That would be a weird way to learn how to swim. I hope you're doing things in addition to watching the video, in addition to going through the workbook, so that you don't feel like I have to wait until day 90 to actually do the work. No, put in the work as we go. So today we're gonna really drill into your real goal and the real reasons behind it. I've got a series of questions I'm going to ask you. Now I need to tell you, don't try to answer these perfectly. You'll hear me say that over and over and over again. You'll get tired of me beating back perfection, but I promise you, we need to. Perfectionism is going to come in and mess up this whole process. So I've got a series of questions that I want you to answer as you think through your goal. Let's start. Number 1, write down anything that you want to be true in 90 days. Remember we talked about that last time? I want you to do it again. I want you to think, okay, has anything changed over the last few days? Is there anything that I want to do differently or I have a different hope? My answers, you might say, okay, I want to have a clear sense of my budget. 90 days from now, as a business owner, I need to have a clear sense of where my budget is, how much I'm spending, how much I'm actually earning. Maybe you'd say, in 90 days from now, I want to have gone to the gym 36 times. I want to have worked out a specific number of times. Step 2, write down something you've always wanted to do. You know, there's a phrase I sometimes use about that goals you don't finish don't disappear. They become ghosts that haunt you. And that's a I've always wanted to. So deep down, what's something you've always wanted to do? Maybe for you, it's I've always wanted to write a children's book, or I've always wanted to travel to Europe, or I've always wanted to cross America in a train. I've always wanted to blank. How would you answer that? Number 3, finish this sentence. This is impossible, but I want to blank. You see, there's this interesting thing that happens. When we dream, when we come up with a goal, the word impossible comes in and we often get crippled by it. So maybe you want to write a book, but it feels impossible. You know, 81% of Americans, according to the New York Times, want to write a book and less than 1% do. Every year, you and I miss 250 million books. Now, a lot of times it's because somebody sits down with a blank piece of paper and it feels impossible. I'm not trying to kill the impossible monster. What I'm trying to do is add one word. I want to add the word but. I want you to say, this feels impossible. This seems impossible, but. And then tell me what it is. Okay, this feels impossible, but I want to own a bed and breakfast. And that feels impossible because I don't have a bed and breakfast right now. I don't have the money for a bed and breakfast. Like that doesn't even begin to enter my life in a real way, but that's what I want to do. So answer that question. This feels impossible, or this is impossible, but, and then answer it. Question number 4, finish the sentence. This is weird, but I want to blank. You know, in Finnish, I talked about one of my goals was to play ping pong. I wanted to get better at ping pong. That's a weird goal. When I told people that goal, nobody said, you're so brave, you're so noble. A friend of mine, her goal was she wanted to learn the dance from Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation video. Like that was her goal. She researched that. That was a thing she did. That's weird. You have some weird goals. I think you need to bring them to the light. Maybe you want to breed snakes. That's a weird goal, especially when they're in Florida. You can just catch them for free. But that's a weird goal, and it's the goal my brother did. When he was in high school and college, he bred snakes, which made for a very interesting Christmas. What's your weird goal? Number 5, finish the sentence. If I don't blank, things are going to be difficult. Or if I don't blank, things are going to suck. Again, let's get back to some of those consequence ideas. Maybe for you, it's if I don't get in shape, I won't be able to go on all the water slides with my son this summer because there's a weight limit. Or if I don't get my taxes in order, I'm going to have a fight with my spouse just like I did last year. And that's going to be unfortunate. For you, finish that sentence. If I don't blank. If I don't hit my 3 sales goals, I'll lose my job. If I don't start my small business, I'll get really bitter. And that's something to think about. Stephen King, the author, said that people who aren't pursuing their goal, like writers who aren't writing, are difficult to be around. Maybe that's for you. Maybe somebody signed you up for this course. Like maybe somebody gave it to you as a gift, a spouse who believes in you more than you believe in yourself. And part of that is they want to give you this gift, but also they don't like to be around you when you're grumpy. And that goal or that hope is kind of festering. Question number 6, what do I want to own? Didn't that one feel kind of vain or shallow or empty? What do I want to own? Shouldn't these goals all be noble and about helping others and fixing humanity? They should. Some of them definitely should. But I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to own something cool. I didn't say, what do I want to worship? What thing do I think will fix me? What purchase will make me whole? No, that's not what I said at all. I said, what do you want to own? A friend of mine named Carrie always wanted to own a Louis Vuitton purse, like a real Louis Vuitton, not one you get on the streets of New York for like $1. She wanted to own a real Louis Vuitton purse. When she lived in rural Indiana growing up, she thought, someday I'm going to do that. Like when I'm an executive, when I make money, I'm going to do that. And a few years ago, she got to. And it was a really special moment for her. She was there in Paris. She went into the store and she bought one. And it was special. And so what do you want to own? Maybe for you, it's a certain type of car. I'd love to own a Porsche. I want to be real clear about that. Like that's one of my goals. And I wouldn't be one of those guys who's like constantly showing you his watch and his steering wheel on Instagram. I'm not going to do that. But if things go well, someday I'd like to own a Porsche. Now, granted, I have 2 weddings to pay for, 2 colleges. Like I got some other stuff first. Maybe for you, you want to own a ski house. Maybe you want to get crazy and own a whole bag of Whole Foods groceries. Like, can you imagine like a full bag of groceries from Whole Foods? Like the money that would cost. Blood oranges are so expensive. What do you want to own? Number 7, where do I want to go? Maybe travel's part of yours. Maybe you want to go to Hawaii. Maybe you want to go to that part of Alaska where bears don't maul you. I'm just kidding. It's all of Alaska. From what I can tell, it's a lot of crabs and bears in Alaska. But where do you want to go? Where do you want to travel? The last one, kind of surprising. What bothers you? What frustrates you? As you look at life, as you look at the people around you, as you look at your own community, what bothers you? What are some things that are frustrating to you? Maybe it's that there's not good help for the homeless in your town. Maybe for you, it's that your neighborhood sign is falling apart and that's a place of pride. What bothers you? Maybe it's that your son doesn't have a team to play soccer on and you need to go coach it. What's something that's bothering you? Those are the 8 questions I want you to answer. So for me, I went through those. So when I answer them, okay, 90 days from now, I want my speech for the fall to be complete. Number 2, I've always wanted to spend a month living by the beach. This is impossible, but I want to write a novel. This is weird, but I want to read the dictionary cover to cover. Eminem and Hemingway both say it's important for writers to have words in their arsenal. I want to read the dictionary. That's a weird goal. If I don't get a new computer, things are going to be terrible. Like my computer's going to crash during a speech, and that'll be rough. Number 6, I mentioned I want to own a Porsche. I want to visit New York with my daughter, my youngest daughter, when it's her 13th birthday. And it bothers me that fake life coaches sell people like you terrible courses that are expensive and don't actually help. Like that bothers me. It's part of the reason I got into coaching in the first place is I got frustrated by that. So as you look at yours, what are some things you can do? How would you answer those questions? Again, part of our goal is to not only have a goal we work on for these 90 days, but also to have a goal you take to the future. I'd love you to finish something this 90, but part of the reason people get intimidated by finishing, like part of the reason that's a difficult day is that they don't know what to do next. There's this sense of, if I finish this thing, what will I do next? I want you to have a continuous, constant stream of goals that you can pick and choose from. I'd love for you to do this one thing for 90 days, and then on day 91, if you finish, to pick out something new from this list. So I need to tell you up front, as you answer these questions, our goal is quantity, not quality. I asked people once online, have you ever had an idea and before you would even write it down, you judged it as too stupid and didn't write it down? And 97% of people said they'd done that. So there's going to be some goals and some answers to these questions that you think, that doesn't count, it's the wrong one. There's no editing right now. Tell your editor they've got the day off. Today is all about quantity, not quality. So go through the list of questions. That's today's activity. Now again, we're going to sprint. We're going to work hard. We're going to work on these actual goals. I just want us to establish a foundation first so that we know exactly what we're doing and why we're doing it. Go.